Hello, welcome to Amateur Hour 40. I don't know what's going on with the background here right now. Um,
Uh, when you want a
the
podcast, but
Cougs
also
battle
be
Cyclones.
motion sick.
Yeah,
God,
yeah. Look, it looks like geez, we're going through the jungle there for a little bit here.
well, it's just
Um,
black.
but yeah, we'll get it fixed in a little bit. But no, appreciate everyone joining us here through all of our technical difficulties. We got a lot to talk
Ooh.
about here about mostly college basketball here, but we do have a little college football news here. Trent, primarily, do you see what I'm wearing here?
I do. Yes, all blacks. Great jerseys, by the
The
way.
All Blacks, which if they aren't in the new NCAA football game, I'm going to be livid right now.
Yeah, they better get some
So
alternate jerseys on there.
they got to get in Oregon's 87 combinations in there first.
Yeah,
Then they'll think about doing the All Blacks.
they'll have all of those, but only aways and homes for Iowa State.
You know how it'll be.
That's exactly how it'll be.
But no, I didn't say that. Kind of tie. I wanted to say that because it kind of ties into our trivia question here. Um, do you know with the new NCAA football game, what will the compensation be for each of the athletes that signs over to the game?
$500.
A little higher.
Oh, $1,000.
It'll be $600 plus a free copy of the game that you're in.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, it's kind of interesting. I was reading about it, and apparently there are some players that are, and there was always going to be. There's some players that are kind of arguing against it. It's like, dude, like
Mm-hmm.
unless you're Arch Manning, unless you're going to be probably the Sanders brothers, Prime, whoever. It sounds like the coaches aren't part of it, so Coach Prime didn't have to worry about it. But like, I think there's very few like stars, if you will, that are big enough where they could demand more.
Yeah.
Plus, also, you're gonna fight. You're gonna squabble over being in a legendary video game coming back for the first time in a decade, and you don't want to take $600 and a free copy of said game.
Well, that's just it. Like, how much do you want? Even EA can't go give $1 million to 134 Division I schools times 80 players. That's over 8,000.
11,000.
So
Yeah.
okay,
So
11,000 student athletes here. Like, okay,
yeah. So all 134 teams, Delaware just missed the cut this year.
oh,
But every player is going to get $600 plus a copy of the game. It's more than 11,000 players expected to be in that. They said day one they already had 5,000 players sign up for it.
that's
So
crazy.
I mean, I expect a majority of them to sign back up as well. One thing I did learn today though is even though the service academies can sign away their rights to have their names in the game and everything, they can't get receive the money. They can't receive any NIL benefits.
Service Academy teams can.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, another bit of trivia for you,
Wow.
but yeah, they can still sign away and put their name in the game if they really want to. But I just thought it was interesting hearing uh, the ones that are going to fight over this. It's how much EA is spending on this, man. They've done the math. They're spending over $7 million paying players to be in the game.
Yep.
I know they're probably going to want to in the future, like if it's usage. I don't even know if they would be able to like predict anything like that, like usage of the player.
Yeah.
But like, dude, at this point, just take the check, take the free game, get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, over 7 million just on that. Like I said, like, what did all these players want? 10, 15, 20 grand. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Sorry, that's kind of where it's like if you want that type of money, I guess you better be a hell of an all-star then. Or don't if you don't want to be remembered, that's fine. You'll be generic cornerback number 22
Yep.
for Old Dominion or whoever wants to sit out. It would be funny if like Shador Sanders sat out and then just everyone else's name is on there and then quarterback 12 or whatever the hell his number is.
It's like the Madden games when Belichick always then he wasn't in them, just a random computer generated coach for the Patriots.
Yeah. But most of the time it was just an old generic fat white guy. And it's like, yeah, that's close enough.
Yeah,
No, that's Bill
that's
Belichick right
him.
there.
Yep.
So no other quick news that I had because we don't really have the full news. Nate Shieldhouse, we mentioned it on the Funcast. He left to become a passing game guru expert. I can't remember what the position was for Sean McVay, which kind of sucks. But we've lost a few players and a few coaches the last few years. That's a good thing for Iowa State. Like this is sadly, we how many years have we seen where it's like we're praying that Kirby Vanderkamp gets a shot as a sixth round punter when he was the best in the Big 12
Hmm.
and doesn't get it. And now we have coaches and players that are the up and comers that are getting a shot at the pros.
Yeah, that's a good sign for Iowa State, obviously, because that means they're doing better. Um,
Yeah.
but good for him. He's going to be the passing game coordinator for Sean McVay. And if we've learned anything in the last 3-4 years, it's you get in his coaching tree. Um, you've got a lot of options to go from there. Um, he'll probably jump into a coordinator position after that, do that for a year or two. If he does well, jump into a coordinator position, and then probably a head coach in probably college football first.
I said it Tuesday. I think he ends back up at Illinois. Unless Bielema gets them to a position where they need to be in the Big Ten, I think they're going to start going. We have to start getting a little faster and be able to compete with the
Hmm.
USCs and Oregons. And, well, let's see what happens with Washington here. I mean, Ohio State just brought in Chip Kelly because they needed a more dynamic
Yep.
offense. That's why they didn't pay Kyle McCord last year. Now you're starting to see these. I can definitely see him coming back to bringing Illinois back to glory.
Yeah, he's only like 32, isn't he?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Do you feel old yet?
Yes.
He's younger than me.
Yes, I do feel old. Man.
No, good on him. Now, I would say
Yep.
we're doing our own little offensive coordinator research, trying to figure out who's going to be the next one.
Brian
Um,
Ferentz.
oh god, yeah, a guy who's seeking revenge versus the Iowa program that we have struggled with for years, who has inside knowledge.
How big of a troll job would that be? Like comes to Iowa State, and then just the offense is just prolific.
Oh, he's like, oh, once I have a good quarterback like Rocco Beck,
Yeah.
all of a sudden he's passing for 5,000 yards.
Yeah, just Matt Campbell doesn't let him call the plays. Matt Campbell calls them and they score 35 a game.
Ferentz or Brian goes up to Matt. He goes, "Hey, I got an idea. It's 3rd and 5. Can I run? Please, can we just run an out that's farther, that's past the line of scrimmage for the first down?" He goes, "Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you?" He goes, "Well, my dad never let
Yeah.
me, so I don't. I have to ask for permission on this type of stuff."
It's 3rd and 5. You want to run a 7-yard play? You're hired.
You're oh, and then Brian goes, "But then also we're building momentum there at that point once we get the first down. Can we just run on first down and abruptly stop all this momentum, even though we have the pass game clicking?" Campbell's like, "Fucking done. How big of a
Yeah.
contract can we give you, sir?"
Can we already get the contract extension? Oh, we haven't even hired you yet.
We need to make sure we just kill all. Hey, I
Yep.
love Abu Sama, man, but
Yeah.
like, holy hell! Last year for how many 13 games, we're just going. Can we just stop with the giving up momentum, man? Like the Memphis game was the worst one. We're just
I-
shitting the bed anyways.
yeah.
We're down, and we're getting here's a 30-yard pass to Higgins again. Better handoff up the middle where we've gotten fucking dick worth of yards.
I wonder what percentage of plays after a first down that Iowa State ran the ball for 1 yard or less this year.
Is there a bigger number than 100%?
If not, it's got to be close to it.
Golly, man. You know what the frustrating is as well, and it's my two teams. We had Brock Purdy do that one quarterback sneak under center, and they messed up the snap because he never goes under center.
Hmm.
Between the Cyclones and the Chiefs, I can count on one hand how many times in a 4th and 1 they went under center and just pushed for the first down.
Yeah.
It is so for every one of my teams just out of shotgun. Fourth and 1. Let's start 6 yards back. Let's
I,
make sure it's a little more difficult.
yes, I've always thought that too. It's like it's 4th and inches. Your running back's going to have to run 7 yards before he gets to the offensive line. Come on.
Yeah. Well, and like for the Chiefs, it's a little different. They had the 3 of the top 5 highest graded interior offensive linemen that beat their blocking assignments, and they never ran under. It's like, are you fucking kidding? That's been now. Now it's just turning my own complaint fest. But like that would be Brian, if you could just tell me that your other big move on 4th and 1 would just be quarterback under center and rush it through, or a tight end under center. I don't even care. Put the biggest guy behind the biggest players and just run forward. Done.
Mm-hmm.
3rd and 1. Let's do that as well.
It's crazy how the tush push works so much because, when they only had 6 inches to go, they only had to move the ball 7 inches. Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, they need to do the Jason Kelsey. Here's the football, and he just moves a little
forward a little bit.
He sets up his snap 3 inches forward, so you already got half of it there. You know. So, no, the names that I've kind of heard around were Mauser. That's been in house. Ryan Clanton, the offensive line coach that we just brought in last year. He was offensive coordinator at UNI that they're thinking about. The one that's curious, and I don't know how much this name has been thrown around, is the offensive coordinator for Ohio last year. He's the last 6-7 years, he's developed the Rourke brothers, including the one that I wouldn't say he demolished our defense because we held him pretty well, but he did enough to beat a program that was much larger than him with a pretty stout defense.
Yep.
You can say sickness all you want. I'm over the fact that it shouldn't have even been that close.
Yeah, if you can't beat them, steal their offensive coordinator. Just poach.
Yeah, if you can't
poach the
if you
teams.
Can't beat them, poach them.
Yep, poach the teams that beat you.
So, and with all this movement, the only other coaching change that I know of, we have Jake Waters, who's the new running backs coach, and it said he was a senior. Let me get this right: senior offensive quality control for the past 3 seasons. And then he's previously coached running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers at UTEP. So
I didn't realize he was at UTEP. I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, and he was also, I didn't realize, I was wondering, I was like, Jake Waters, why does that sound familiar? I didn't realize that was the Iowa Wesleyan to Kansas State quarterback for a couple years. Because anytime there's an Iowa connection, the local media goes fucking bananas for a D1 athlete. Did you know he played for Council Bluffs or whoever the hell? Like Max Duggan.
Yeah. Man, Iowa State couldn't keep him in state. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
we noticed.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, Adam, it's the Jake Waters from K-State there, the same guy. It's so I would say he's going to be the new running backs coach, and is going back to that Ohio offensive coordinator we were talking about. He used to be on Matt Campbell's staff at Toledo as well, so there is that little bit of connection because. Matt, he doesn't want too fresh of blood.
No.
Veer out for a couple years and then bring him back because we wouldn't want a giant change in philosophy. It's worked, but, I feel like there's also a little bit of a ceiling with it too.
Yep.
So, other than that, man, I would say I don't think there's really too much. Stephen A. was getting bent out of shape about Notre Dame. The Big Ten and the SEC, they're already trying to change the playoffs.
Yeah.
So there's 4 guaranteed spots for their conferences.
Can we just?
I'm not going to get to
play one season worth of 12-team playoffs before we start to change this again? Can't just one?
You heard about the Big Ten and the SEC leadership was created. What was it? An advisory board. Okay. We know where this is heading, man. They're trying to break away for. They want to be minor league NFL, whatever. Honestly, go for it. You don't get to give away Northwestern and Indiana, and
you take them with you.
Dude, you take them with you, and we'll just have everyone else, and we'll what's it, Big 48 at that point or something.
It's just insane. It's like we want a 14-team playoff, but 8 of them are going to be from our conference.
Yeah.
Screw the rest of you guys. I hate it already.
Yeah. Well, then there's one that was proposed. I think it was a 16 team. It was like 4-4 from those two, 2-2 from the Big 12 ACC, one at large, and then what's the remainder there? Is that 3 at large bids? If it turned into a 16 team, it's like, let's just, like you said, let's just do 12. Let's see how these games go with the on-campus games. That
Mhm.
creates a lot more fun where there's an incentive for the bye. There's now, sadly, now there's 4 power conferences where it now naturally makes sense where all the top 4 conference champions, which will be all the power conferences, get the bye, and then everyone's going to have one more, the incentive of playing a game at home. I mean, you're going to have more intriguing matchups like that. I just hate and I know what they're trying to do. It's like any negotiation, man. If I want 6 apples here, I'm going to ask for 9. So
Mhm.
then that way, when we negotiate down, I get what I wanted, but it seems like I'm compromising. I know what they're trying to do with saying throw 4 out there so they can at least get a minimum of 2 to 3 guaranteed.
Yeah, and I don't feel like that's just a true playoff that they're like, "No,
Mhm.
we get guaranteed 4."
Exactly.
It's like crazy idea. Cra- Call me crazy,
I'm
but
sitting down. Let's hear it.
what if they just take the top 16 teams, put them in a playoff? Oh, I don't know, like the FCS has done for years. It seems to work
Yeah.
just fine.
Yeah. Well, and,
Like,
and what was it this year? The Missouri Valley had how many teams? 5, 6
yeah, like
of them.
5 out of the 16 or something like that. And
Yeah.
well, that's
And,
because
and
they
guess
were
what?
all better than the other. It wasn't because they were guaranteed that many, is because they had that many ranked in the top 16 in the nation.
Exactly.
Man, it's
You know,
just
you know where it's
insane
gonna
how that
go.
works.
You know where it's gonna go though, man. It's gonna be now more than ever. Those preseason rankings are gonna be fucking huge because whether you beat them in the out of conference and you are 24th and like at Texas A&M, right? Your SEC, you're 24th, 25th, like you always are every single year. Just given that every time you win, you're gonna naturally move up here. It's honestly it's Big 12 basketball where we're at right now. We just lost to Houston. We're not going to go down in the rankings because we lost to a tough team.
Yeah, they'll still be
You
in the
know,
top 10.
yeah. But I would say that everyone in the SEC is going to be playing each other, and it's 16 beat 18, so we can't move him down too much because 18 only lost to 16. 16 has to go farther up. They're gonna it's we've seen it for years. They're gonna climb very easy, and it's gonna be so damn hard to get them drawn out.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
The only thing that's different. Okay.
I was gonna say it's the same people that are um, voting on these AP rankings that it's going to get their teams, going to get that. So if there was a 16, get those A's or SEC and Big Ten teams into that playoff.
we we've already seen it in the voting habits for years, man.
Yeah.
And this isn't just a college football problem, but how many people were still voting Duke a top basketball team this year, even when they weren't quite playing the best, or North Carolina,
Hmm.
or keeping certain schools because it's like, well, that's just tradition. But you've seen it in the voting with the Heisman. Predominantly, the Southeast dominates that vote so hard that even a West Coast or a Midwest team or a Midwest player, unless they are like the star of college football, it is so tough for them to win the Heisman. Unless it was like Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush. I mean, Marcus Mariota with a big enough brand. You see the voting there. You
Yep.
see it in the top 25 where, like I said, they vote them up high once they win. When they lose, but they didn't lost to a tough team. But there's just not an. I hate it because like college basketball, there's enough games. There's 2 a week where you can towards the end of the season you have an actual like legitimate sample size of 30 games. That's the smallest legit any scientific method, any scientific statistical 30 is the sample size that you have to have. Basketball has it. Football, you're working with 1/3 of the pool, and you're going, okay, yeah, they lost to them when they were 24th in the out of conference. Well, what are they? You
Yep.
know, I just I'm just worried that, and we knew what it was. The expanded playoff was just going to be more Big Ten and SEC. If we're going to be happy about something, at least knowing that there is a chance that, right now, with the front runners in Big 12 are probably Utah, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
there's a legitimate shot if they don't. I guess we're gonna have to see how the schedule turns out. How they play each other. But if there's a couple that are 10-1, 10-2 going into the conference championship weekend, and they play a tough game, Big 12 might be able to sneak 2 teams in, but they're not going to put in a 10-2 Big 12 team if they had a couple bad losses in conference compared to an 8-4 SEC team or a 9-3 SEC team that didn't even make their conference championship game, and they played them all tough.
Yep. Yeah, I don't like the way it's going. Like I said, let's just get through 1 year of it being 12, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, because the way they've signed it with this 5+7, the new way it's unanimous that they've signed it. This is only for a couple years, so they're already looking at renegotiations for 2026. I think is the first year we're about it. So who knows, man? I would say I'm looking forward to NCAA football. We can get some nostalgia, something from our youth back. And then I'm already fiending for college football again, man. We're not even in March Madness. I'm ready for college football. So, I'd say let's just jump into Iowa State basketball here, man.
Yeah.
Iowa State currently 20-6 on the year, now 9-4 in the conference after a win versus Texas Tech and a loss at Houston. This past Monday here. How'd you feel about these last couple games, man? We said we would be completely happy with 1-1, and they did that.
Yep.
So
and that's what we got. The Texas Tech game on Saturday, again, Iowa State got a big lead. Texas Tech did come back a little bit, but not as Iowa State kept them at arm's length. This wasn't as bad as the other ones, and we didn't sweat it out that bad. Texas Tech just hit some shots, hit some threes in the last 5 minutes, but really no threat to win that game. But Monday night, Houston, they're good. Houston is really good. They're going to be number 1 on Monday when the new rankings come out. Man, their defense is so good. And I think we kind of thought that's what was going to happen. Was this is going to be a dogfight, with Houston's defense, Iowa State's defense, and it was. I just don't like how. I think we've complained about this before, but the refs.
Us complaining?
Yeah, no, we don't do that. But the refs call the game 2 different games, first half to second half. Like the first half, they let them play defense. That's Iowa State and Houston. That's what they do. They play defense. They get it. Yeah, they get after you. But then in the second half, if they called every touch a foul, and it's just like, come on, let them play a little bit. That's my complaint. But yeah,
in
Iowa
that
State
Houston game
played well.
In that Houston game, we couldn't not get a foul in the first half, and Houston was jumping on players. It was like Malice in the Palace. It's like, what the hell? I don't know how TJ didn't absolutely rip someone's head off in that first half. Because I've always told myself, just be calm. He puts his arms behind his back. He's fucking, but he doesn't yell at him, and he's playing the long game. And he has it. And as much as we want him to get teed up like everyone else, I feel, I think we saw in the second half, he plays the long game because he knows it's going to even out in the second half. And then we couldn't capitalize, but holy shit, was that a 180 where nothing was called on Iowa State and everything on Houston. Their 2 biggest stars, other than their top 2, LJ Cryer and their I'm missing on their post, but both of them were in foul trouble for the last 10 minutes or so, and they had to sit out, and we just could not capitalize on their start. And I didn't even change we have on our agenda, for people wondering, upcoming games, what we did good so we can keep notes, and what we did bad. I didn't even change anything from last week. Bad, easy opportunities when gifted chances. And that's us versus Baylor. So what's this been, 3 weeks? I haven't even had to change that, man.
No. And the whole game in the second half, Iowa State I thought, they get within 5, and I'm just like, okay, well, here comes Houston going to score 4 quick points to get up by 9 again. Like they could just not get that lead under 5 points. And I guess credit to Houston.
Yeah.
They're good, really good. They're probably
Yeah.
the best team in the
I
nation. Like,
I think Sheed really bought everyone in when you're watching. It's like I can't be mad at how great this kid's playing because it'd be Iowa State and again we did take advantage when we could on some of these big shots, and Trey King and Curtis were hitting threes, and you know
yeah,
what happened? She'd go to the other side and immediately hit a three and kill the momentum. It was like, yeah,
yep,
we just cannot get anything going because
yep,
they're answering everything immediately.
yep. Yeah, I mean that's what
So
good
no,
teams do. And I saw on Twitter, somebody said that Houston's the best team in the country, and after that game, Iowa State might be the second best team in the country.
those are pretty big words there, Trent.
They are, but they hung with them after being down by what 16, 15, 16 points in the first 8 minutes.
So well, I was actually going to ask you think that because you and me are realists, and some people get pissed at Iowa State fans that we don't want to be great. But I was a little worried when we got ranked sixth because it's like sixth. I mean,
Yeah,
we've been good. We always say you and me we're the top 2 team in the country. But sixth, I was like, oh shit, we're in real territory. You
yeah,
can fake getting the top 25, 23rd, 19 if you get a good run. Sixth is you're getting some national media, and we played very well on Big Monday,
yeah,
so I'm happy with that. But yeah, man. I mean, I think with Ken, we lost so well. We went up in Ken Palm, which there's
yeah,
some statisticians that swear
yep.
by it. But
Well,
man, I would say that this has absolutely been.
Houston's average margin of victory at home versus Big 12 opponents was 22 points. Average. Iowa State goes in there
Yeah.
loses
So
by 8.
what was ours? 9,
I think it was 8.
8. Yeah.
Their closest victory was 15 at home before Iowa State played them there.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to put it on the screen. Watching at home can see it. But this has kind of been this Ryan Hammer on Twitter. He has shown this trapezoid of excellence. And obviously, it's a good Iowa State stat, so we got to show it. But just so everyone can kind of see what we're talking about, It talks about like pace of play, offense, in defense. So top right there is going to have your Arizona, Alabama, the ones that can score 100 points a night. Back towards the left side, top left is you're going to see Houston, St. Mary's, where it's going to be, excuse me, where it's going to be a lot slower and it's going to be a tougher defense. Right in that trapezoid, you can see some of the teams that are Houston, very good. UConn, very good. Baylor, Creighton, Duke, Tennessee, Illinois, Auburn, Purdue. Gonzaga is sneaking in the right behind Illinois, but then Purdue and Iowa State right in the middle.
Gonzaga, when you play community colleges all year.
Hey,
that'll happen.
You don't talk shit about Pepperdine, okay?
I see Pacific. One of the teams in their conference is in the yikes circle down there. So, just saying.
Yeah. So, Middle Tennessee. Oh shoot, the Air Force team is in the yikes category, man. See, I have bet on Air Force basketball. One, that's when I knew I was a degenerate and I needed to kind of slow down on my gambling. But my realistic thought was like, hey, I've seen Top Gun. And also to fly a plane, to get in the I'm thinking to fly a plane, you have to have perfect 20/20 vision. Surely all these basketball players have 20/20 vision and they can hit their free throws, and they didn't that night. And I like swore off the Air Force Academy for multiple sports. I was just so upset because they couldn't get. I think the over under was 120 and they couldn't hit the over. I'm like, how do you, dude? You're Air Force. Just get to 60 points.
You should know better to.
Yeah, it was bad.
You should know better than betting on teams because they need to make free throws. You're an Iowa State fan. Come on.
Yeah, I count on that. I've already seen some of the worst free throw shooting in the country. Surely everyone else can be better than that, and they disproved me at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was during my experimentation phase of gambling where I'm like, I'm gonna take the 4 lowest over unders and bet the over, and I'm gonna take the 4 highest over unders and bet the under on them. So I was trying to like game it where surely all of them can score more and vice versa, and it didn't
Yeah.
work. I lost like 5 parlays in a row. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with parlays because I'm a fucking. So coming up here, we got a. Thankfully, we've got a little bit of an easier stretch. There's no real gimmies in Big 12, but we play West
Yeah.
Virginia and Oklahoma at home. Oklahoma's kind of skidding. West Virginia, ever since Bob
Yeah.
Huggins was gone earlier this year, they've kind of struggled. But those are the types of trap games. Again, we're 6. They're going to be coming for our necks here. We just need to play how
Yeah.
we know, like we know how. Put the game away early, and then we can piddle away the lead a little bit. Just win at that point.
Yep. So speaking of Bob Huggins, I was thinking this during the Houston game and even during the Texas Tech game. You know how in the last 5, 6 years we just hate playing West Virginia because they press you and they just beat the shit out of you on defense and they play that good defense and we just hated them for it. And now that Iowa State's doing, I'm like, I love this.
Yeah. We're the ones that are doing the beatings, not receiving the
Yes.
beatings.
Yes. It's the same thing. I
And
think
you
we
know
talked
what?
about it
I'm gonna be
in I think we talked about it last week about, we're defense and all this and we just hate Iowa because they win ugly and now it's what we're doing in basketball and we love it.
well. See, I've tweeted about this before, but see, in football, when you play hard nosed defense and you do enough offense to win, boo, poor product, terrible. It sucks.
Yep.
But basketball, that's the way basketball is supposed to be played. Well, actually, last year was more enough offense to win, and then all the defense. This year, we got some scoring in there now, so
Yeah.
we're
Last year we were
past
just
the Iowa football basketball.
yeah, last year Iowa State was just lucky they were good at defense.
That pick game still haunts me, man. 42 points in a whole game of basketball. Jeez, Louise.
That's ugly.
It's like you ever watch the first round of like the women's tournament? Harvard taking on Tennessee in their prime, and it's like 110-38. That was just us versus a regular 9 seed.
Yeah.
Just terrible. So, but yeah, I would say I read that the top 4 teams, I think it's like Baylor, Houston, Iowa State, and I think Kansas. They only have 1 loss combined at home. There are some
Yeah.
tough venues to play in the Big 12 here, and thankfully, looking at it, we probably had one of the more favorable schedules in the Big 12. Man, didn't have to play Kansas at Kansas. We did have to play Baylor, but we lost there by
0.2
2.
seconds.
Played at Houston, but I mean,
Yeah.
we kind of lucked out on a lot of the tougher games.
Yeah.
Did we play
We
Baylor at
caught
home?
Oklahoma at home. No. Don't
Yeah,
believe so.
we have Oklahoma at home this weekend.
Yeah. No, West Virginia. Right?
Oh, West Virginia, yes. Yeah,
But
we didn't have we didn't.
we caught Oklahoma at Oklahoma when they were still ranked and good.
BYU as well. BYU's still up there, but same thing. They've kind of been hot and streaky.
Yep.
But no, I would say we just need to finish strong with this year. We only have a few more games, and then we're gonna go to Hilton South. I hope we can pull off that victory, but I know Williams and Bloom and all them on Cyclone Fanatic. I wouldn't be totally upset with a early exit just to get a little more rest, because this is one of those years I think we have a legitimate shot if we're a top 2-3 seed where we can make a run here.
Yeah, if Iowa State could win the regular season conference championship, I would be okay with it. But if they don't, it's like go down there and win the tournament championship.
I think at best we tie Houston. If not, Houston just wins it outright.
Yeah. Well, Iowa State and Houston each won on their home court against each other. So if Iowa State loses one
Mhm.
less game along the way than Houston, it's going to be a shared championship.
Comparative, our last 5 games are going to be West Virginia home, Oklahoma home, at UCF, BYU home, at Kansas State, which they beat Kansas at home. So Bramlage isn't nothing to
I think
to
I think
write
Iowa
off.
State's hardest game is at Kansas State.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Although
Pulling up
ever
the
since ever since Iowa State broke them in Hilton, they've kind of sucked.
mhm. And then for Houston, their last games are going to be at Baylor this weekend, home versus Cincinnati, at Oklahoma, at UCF, which they beat Kansas at home, and
Mhm.
then home versus Kansas.
Yeah.
So they got a bit of a tough stretch there with multiple 3 of the last 5 as away games. Um, Honestly, watching Cincinnati, that's not even a gimme for. Well, for I'll be honest, that's probably the one gimme for Houston. Houston's a little better than us,
Yeah, being
and
at
more than
home.
a little. Just but I would say that's where I don't know. They're going to have to slip up twice, and then we have the luxury of only one slip up, but
Yeah.
they have the. No, it's there is no tiebreaker. We've each won at home, so
Yeah.
um. But yeah, man, I would say I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a hell of a finish. It'll be interesting to see as much as we've pounded our chest all year. I've been seeing predictions of 8 upwards of 10 Big 12 teams. I mean, there's not even another conference close.
No.
And that's like prime Big East days
Hmm.
type of basketball teams in the Big 12 in the NCAA tournament. Jeez
Yep.
Louise.
Yeah, that would be. God, if they get 10 teams in, that's nuts.
1 out of 6. But then we can't because I know the Big Ten has gotten like 10 teams in there as well. We can't have 6 pissed away on day one though. You got to hopefully make the second, third round so everyone knows it's legitimate. Otherwise, it's like the SEC bowl season. Oh well, we didn't want to be there because we were a 8 seed. No,
It
fucking
just means more to our basketball programs.
yeah, exactly. We won the national championship in Ames earlier this year when we beat Kansas and Houston.
Yeah.
So actually, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it just means more. Those games, the
Bullshit.
regular season games.
No, this is the team that has to the win for for the team that lost to Hamilton, for the team that lost to UAB. This is the team that lost on a stupid fucking Aaron Craft 3-point. This is the team that has to make up for all those teams and bring us back to that point. Do what we should have done in those tournaments.
You know what? Why do you got to bring us down like that? Bring
I'm
that
just
up.
saying because I say it because I believe in this team. I
Okay,
know they can
good.
get us there,
Good.
but I'm just saying they need to because we can't add another.
No.
We
Iowa
just
State
remember
deserves it, man.
Yeah. Just remember though, a 1 has lost to a 16, so 2 15s don't who it's not even a big deal anymore.
Yeah. Sorry, Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, and no one even remembers the a dorky Hampton win. Everyone remembers the cool Florida Gulf Coast beating like Georgetown and stuff. Mercer beating Duke. Was Bucknell was a 14 when they beat Kansas, I
Yeah.
think, weren't they?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no one remembers a Hampton.
Yeah. Hampton
Get out of
who?
here. Hampton who? Um Anything more on men's basketball? I was just gonna jump to
Yeah.
women's.
Let's go to women's.
Women, 15 and 10, 9 and 6 in conference. Just as many wins in conference as we do. Crazy.
Yeah.
Um. Oh, I had 6th in the polls. I forgot to delete that off of the men's. But no, they had a hell of a good win at they lost at Texas
Yeah.
this last weekend. No shocker, Texas number
They're good.
5. That makes sense. But then won at Houston.
Yep.
Again, very solid on the inside, solid at the free throw line.
That-
I haven't been able to find any women's bracketology. Are we in the tournament? Do you know yet?
I think it's kind of a bubble on the bubble right now.
Yeah.
That Texas game, I feel like that was closer than the score. Iowa State had that within a couple points, 2-3 points until the
Mhm.
fourth quarter. And then Texas just pounded Iowa State in that fourth quarter and ended up winning by what? Almost 20.
Yeah.
So,
See, I didn't catch any of the games, so that's where I was like, "Holy shit, we just got demolished."
yeah.
But at Texas, at number
No.
5, can't be mad about
Yeah, I
that.
watched it, and it was within a few points. Iowa State was actually leading, I think, in the third quarter, and then Texas showed why they're top 5.
Yeah. Right now, they have us on the bubble. We're one of the last 4 buys,
Okay.
and then so we got about, like, a 4-team cushion.
Yep.
So if we keep winning the games we're supposed to here, we have a solid Big 12 tournament. I mean, we'll be a lower seed, but what would that put us at, like, 8, 9?
Yeah.
I think the smallest they do a Power 5 would be, like, 11 or 12, but probably be that, just middle of the road
Yeah.
pack.
Yep, I can see that.
But because if we can just sneak in, man, I think we got enough talent on that team and enough defense where just Audi, she is phenomenal on the inside,
Mhm.
man. Not only just with her defense, but I mean she's getting any gimme, man, and she's powering through anything. I, I like we said a couple weeks ago. I think this is the best time Cyclones in general for all sports
Yep.
that it could
Oh,
be right now.
for sure.
Women's team starting to hum. Men's team, phenomenal run. Football team did very well this year. I mean, this is the wrestling. It's number 4 versus number
Yep.
9, Missouri this weekend.
Trending upwards, I think.
Trending upwards overall.
Yes.
So as much as Jamie does some shit that pisses me off, he's got us where we need to be.
Yeah.
You know, he's made the right hires and he's got the facilities. We got Sci-Town. This has got to be some of the best times to be a Cyclone fan,
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
So, you want to talk about the elephant in the room that is Caitlin Clark?
Who?
You haven't heard of her.
Ah,
Caitlin Clark is the all-time scorer on the women's side right
yep.
now, and about 3 games away from me in the all-time scorer in general.
Ever.
Ever.
Move over Pete Maravich.
Pete Maravich, yeah. So I would say I was doing some math earlier and I put it on here. So right now, including tonight's loss at Indiana, she's at 35-89 total points. That would put her, I would say, in order to pass Lynette Woodard, who I guess this is like technically she has the most points, but since they didn't keep stats before 1981 or something, they didn't count her stats. She has 36-49, so she's 60 points away from her. And then she was 99 points, so what would that be? 75 points after tonight's loss.
Yep.
75 points away from passing Pete Maravich at 36-67.
Yep.
So yeah, start getting the bronze or whatever you're going to cast that statue with. Better start getting it ordered now, Iowa, before the prices go up.
The only question is how big is it going to be? I mean, it's got to have it. No, just how big you want to make it.
Oh, I think if they listen to the last episode, they'll have a pretty good idea on how much the Caitlin Clark effect should tell you how much those statues need to be, how big
For
they
sure.
need to be. But no, one thing, and I'm surprised they haven't done it. And I've been starting to think more like ESPN getting creative with some of these things here, man. I'm surprised they don't have Caitlin's road to 4,000 points. She was a little lower than what it is, but before tonight, she was 431 points away from having 4,000 career points. Obviously, no one's touched that number in history.
Mhm.
But with 13 games left, this is including tonight's game and every game if they were to make the national championship and being our first 2 rounds bye in the Big Ten tournament. With 13 games left, she'd need to average 33.2 points in order to get to 4,000 points. Now, she had 24 points tonight.
24, yes.
So she'd have to average, I think it would be 34 points. I'd say you'd have to add those onto the remaining games. It would probably be actually close to like 33.7 points a game. As much as I don't like to compliment her, that's very doable for what she needs to do.
I was going to say the same thing. It's doable.
Yeah. Could you imagine that? Like, I'm trying to think of anyone on the men's side. Maybe Zach Edey, who just gets the kind of bunnies and just overbearing on 7-4 and actually can move pretty
Mm-hmm.
well. If you told him he had to average 34 points a game, holy shit, are you kidding me? 34 points, with Clark? I think it's very doable. You just got past your toughest game at
Yep.
Indiana. I believe they get Ohio State at home as well with a revenge
Yep.
game. She's going to go off. What was it in the record breaking game? She needed 8 points and she scored the first
She
8.
did it in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, she's got the Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
She'll get the points in that toughest game. This was the toughest game that she had until
Yep.
we know what ones are coming up. But she throws a couple 40, 50 point games in there, man. She could break 4,000 points, and I don't know. I really don't know if anyone on the men's side could ever break that. We're getting out of the COVID years,
Yep.
and we're also getting out of the I think you'd have to be a small mid-major guy that's good enough to start for 4 years, but bad enough to not make the you'd have to be really undersized. I think an undersized not was it Will Forte for Oklahoma State, who was there for I think 8 years,
Yeah.
shooting 3-pointers and fucking putting daggers on our hearts every single time.
Yes.
But you'd have to be good enough to start, but not ever get good enough to that's where the women's game kind of has this advantage, because look how that are of recent history. Iowa State has the number, what was it, 9 girl now all time,
Yeah.
and she started all 4 years, and no one remembers her. But there's so many in recent history that have been getting in the top 25, top 10 of women's, just because the WNBA doesn't let them leave right away, even if they are good enough, and it's just that you see more 4-year careers.
Yeah. So they stay longer.
Yeah. So if she can get to 4,000, I don't think any man will ever pass it again. And I don't know if we were talking about it at work today. I think that she landed in the most ideal situation with being at Iowa, where you're not going to get kind of buried in the depth chart like you would at a South Carolina or UConn. And she might have started there. I guess I don't want to sound like I'm discounting her. But there would also be plenty of girls where it's like, okay, you take a break. You got your 15. We'll get someone else for their 15. They've needed to rely on her to go lights out every single time. She was a top 5 recruit, so she was big enough there. You have to have all of those elements fall into place here, and be have a good enough teammates where she is getting these assists to get some of the pressure off her as well.
Yeah. So another thing I was thinking about too is she's had a 47, 48, 49 point game. She's never had a 50-point game. I feel like what? Yeah, I feel like
going down in my power rankings.
She's okay, Jay Williams. She's just okay. But I think before the end of the year, she's going to try to get that. I really do. Just to say that she's got that, notch in her belt there. Got a 50-point game as well, which would help with the average of getting to 4,000.
See, what she needs to do, excuse me, is she needs to get to 4,000 points. And then, oh God, you ready for this? Here's the prediction that's going to happen. Because one, it'll make Iowa fans never stop talking about her. But she's going to get to 4,000 points. And you ready for this? Ready for this? She's going to get 4 M's tattooed on her for the Roman numeral for 4,000 points. And it's going to be the coolest thing ever. And they're going to sell black shirts with yellow MMMM. Everyone's going to know about it. And you're going to hate it. Oh, speaking of things that you hate, Trent, happy Caitlin Clark Day. Did you hear about that?
Yes, Iowa's declared the 22nd, February 22nd, Caitlin Clark Day.
Caitlin Clark Day 2/22 is my 9/11.
Jesus.
No, I read that and I was just like, are you kidding? We are tried to show our appreciation, legitimate, but it's like, God, can you just could you have done it next year? 2/22, remember her? 2/22. It's Jimmy. Today was supposed to is National Margarita Day for Jimmy Buffett, who just died in the last year, and you take that away. Body's not even cold yet. I swear, man. They're gonna force it down us, man, and they're gonna make sure we never forget her ever again. Caitlin Clark Day.
Not on February 22nd anymore. You won't.
Oh, what was Brock's number in college?
15.
15. His number's 13 in the NFL. We're gonna have to. You were gonna declare January 15th Brock Purdy Day because Iowa State's the number one team in the state, and he wore number 15. How about that?
I'm down with that.
Because it will also coincide with when he's preparing his team for another Super Bowl as well.
Okay. Yep.
So he'll still be playing at that point.
Yeah. Yep.
You heard it here first. January 15th, Brock Purdy Day.
Yep. I can get behind that.
Yeah. They're better also in Cytown. There better be a little side street called Purdy Place. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying. If by the way, if he hasn't, I think I might sign up for that trademark now that I said it, so that I can open a Purdy Place bar
Inside town. I
in
like it.
Cytown.
Yep.
I will. I don't have the money, not even remotely close right now. I don't even know if I get if I even get approved for a loan. I got very good credit score, but I think I'm just going to put it in. And you just tell them like, so what's your game plan for making money at this location? I go, I'm going to open a bar in Ames called Purdy's Place, and they go, done, sold.
Yep.
We'll do 2% interest. Just get this building up ASAP because we know we're going to recoup this money immediately.
Yeah. Just put it inside town. Call it Purdy's Place.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Do what you got to do. How much money do you need? Is what they'll say.
Once you pay them back, they're going to want to reinvest. I'm going to build a skyscraper there by the end of it with how much money we're going to make from selling beer near a Cyclone tailgate.
Stacking money.
Yeah, exactly. Infinite money glitch. Oh,
yeah.
Sell beer within walking range of tailgate. Done.
God forbid you buy one inside the stadium, though.
Oh, the irresponsible. These kids. To his credit, one of my earliest memories from going to an Iowa State game in Jack Trice, do you remember back in the day before they redid everything and the four corners were the hillsides?
Yeah.
And they used to have those little like pine trees and stuff there.
Yep.
We had hillside tickets when my brother was a freshman. We're sitting there and we do look behind us and there's a guy drunk just pissing on one of those trees in the wide open. Not even these trees might have been 2.5 feet tall, just sitting there, hanging out, just pissing on a tree. I go, oh well, cool. Well, that's just happy Iowa State. It was probably Iowa State like you and I, not even a game. He got obliterated because it wasn't a game worth watching because it was probably too close for what it should have been. And
but
yeah, so I can see where Jamie doesn't want to sell season ticket or beer.
But okay, that happened when they weren't selling beer in the stadium. So that ruins Jamie Pollard's argument right there. True.
Actually, yeah, because they had to overdrink outside.
So I've heard, yes, I read an article, this has been a while ago. I don't know what I read this on, but there was arguments to both sides. It was people aren't going to get as drunk in the stadium. So they're not going to get as drunk tailgating because they know they can have a beer in the stadium, but they're not going to get hammered in the stadium because a beer is going to be $12.
Yeah.
So
it's just enough to keep the hangover at bay.
Yeah.
Also, in my latest experience, so that was like 15 years ago. Present day, I went to the Kansas game this last week. You know, we don't want you drink in the stadium. We were sitting 2 rows behind some obnoxious Kansas fans. And I say obnoxious mostly because they're just wearing Kansas gear. Fuck them, you know. But from the upper decks, I've never been hit in the back of the head and seen so many people hit around us with these shooters. And like, if it was 1 or 2, that's fine. It was like every 2 minutes there was multiple shooters being thrown. If you were to tell me like the official number was 72 shooters, I'd be like, sounds about right, because I saw them pelted. I got hit quite a few times. Like, we sent security up there multiple times. Like, can you see? There's like 5 of them that are just. I don't know where they were pulling them out of. I didn't want to look at the bottles and see where they came from. But like, it was just chuck it. It was like raining, just shooters. But you have beer in the stadium. All of a sudden, you don't have to bring in all these shooters and shit.
There you go.
Jamie, make the call. We once again we solved a major problem with our athletic teams
for the 100th time.
time.
Man.
So, well, shit, man, you got anything else? Otherwise, I'd say let's wrap it up under an hour here.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
So, no, we do appreciate everyone joining us here. I would say I think we're going to lean more towards Thursdays for now. We might occasionally do Wednesdays, but we'll announce it if we do it a day early, so you can keep joining us live. We do appreciate the live questions we've been getting as of late, but yeah, amateur hour on Thursdays. We've been doing more of those fun casts where it's just kind of less sports, more random topics, talking about our favorite man on the $100 bill, Benjamin Franklin. A lot of interesting topics with him.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we'll be doing those on Tuesday around the same time. What was that, Trent?
Twilight got talked about a lot.
Twilight, yeah. Robert Pattinson, way too much, oddly enough, and we had nothing about it on the agenda. So those ones go a little off the rails, and those are a lot of fun having the live audiences when we do. But yeah, do appreciate everyone joining us, and we'll catch you next week.